Well, hello, hello. Happy Wednesday to you. This is a winning Wednesday, and we are here to help accelerate your continued success. And if you're just tuning in for the very first time, I want you to know you have missed some incredible conversations, some incredible information. I would dare to say some game changing transformational thoughts that, if you receive them, could really unlock and unpack so many things that may be holding you back in your own journey of going from corporate to entrepreneur. I always say this is a train in motion. I have been showing up every day, every weekday in this month to really encourage, dare I say, empower you to move forward in your journey. And when we think about the corporate to entrepreneur journey, there are so many different elements to allowing yourself to conceive the thought of making the journey, turning that thought into action, being able to reframe so many misconceptions that we have about what we think and feel. And so I've been showing up in these conversations to help you do just that. We have been unpacking what it really takes to go from corporate to entrepreneur and how to do that without losing your mind, without losing your money, and without losing momentum. Last week, we covered so many great mindset shifts. We talked about when success starts to feel heavy and why the climb to the top doesn't always feel like winning. And you start to sense that inner tug, that inner nudge that you want something more. We also talked about why promotions don't satisfy anymore. We talked about the hidden reason you still feel restless even after you've gone for the big title, even after you have achieved the promotion or gotten the title bump. We've talked about that you don't want to hustle, that you actually want to go for what is alignment for you, and how to trade this whole perspective of burnout for a business that fuels you. We've talked about how to really lean into being willing and really let go of this notion of readiness, but that it really is about willingness and embracing the truth about starting before you have it all figured out. And we even had a conversation around lived experience turning into lasting impact. So last week was an incredible conversation. And this week has matched that. We are 3 days. This is our third day into this week's conversations, and it has been just as good. Now, if you missed any of the conversations from last week or even earlier this week, I want to invite you to go to my YouTube channel. All of them are there. I have a playlist that's ready for you to dive into so that you can begin thinking through this shift of corporate to entrepreneur for yourself. Now, on Monday of this week, we talked about using what is in your hands and spotting the skills and the influence and the brilliance that you already own to get started. So many times we are thinking that we need something else, something additional, something outside of ourselves, when we are fully loaded to get started. We are fully loaded to bloom where we are planted. And yesterday was an incredible conversation as to what the answer actually is. When we are dealing with the misalignment, we know the answer, and the answer is purpose. Purpose is absolutely the foundation that keeps you building the right thing. But unfortunately, so many of us jump to a great idea. We jump to some latest trend. We jump to some quick answer instead of taking time to really understand what are we purposed to do. And yesterday, I talked a great deal about how purpose is going to allow you to go the distance because it's going to resonate so greatly with you. And you are going to feel connected. You are going to have the foundation to build the right business. And that's the one that I would love the opportunity to support you with. Now, today, we are going to step deeper into an even greater conversation. We are going to really unpack this notion of the mindset shift that has to happen from you going from an employee mindset to a founder or an owner mindset. How to step from being this high performer in the corporate realm to being this vision holder, so that you stop waiting for permission and you give yourself permission to lead your vision, to step into that CEO role. Now, the reason why you should stay connected here is we are just getting started. My commitment is to continue to go live every day, every weekday this month, and build you towards having the clarity you need, the confidence you need, and strategies to launch the right business. And again, the right business is one that is purpose led. It has you written all over it. The right business is one that is market ready. It is positioned in the marketplace for success. And the right business is one that cues up profitability. It's about making income, and it is definitely about making impact. Now, if you've been thinking, I know I'm meant for more, I just don't know where to start, then this live stream series is where it all begins. And if you're watching this video, then there's likely a caption that is coming along with this. And in that caption is a link to the playlist on the YouTube channel so that you can take advantage of all this amazing content that I have put together for you to help accelerate your success. Now, we are on day 8 of this incredible journey. Day 8. And in this realm of day 8 is this whole notion of new beginnings. Maybe you've heard that before. 8 is a signal for new beginnings. And the new thing that I want to help introduce in your life is this whole perspective of going from being a contributor to a creator and shifting your mindset. You cannot run a business with an employee mindset. You cannot run a business with an employee mindset. My hope is to reframe your identity from just seeing yourself as a high performer to a founder, so that you stop waiting for permission and you start leading your business. Now, here's a thought that I want to give to you. It's one that I want you to take. You have been the star player on someone else's team for a while now. You are dependable. You are the go-to person. You are the one who knows the ins and outs. You're dependent upon. In fact, they often wait for you to get back before they move forward with things, because your influence is powerful and it is recognized. And in the same vein that you have been able to establish yourself with such a leading edge, I want you to know that you can take that star power, that star player power, and build your vision. There is nothing missing. There is nothing lacking for you to start your journey. You have to simply begin to bloom where you are planted. So here's the deal. My goal for today is to help you understand that the shift to entrepreneurship isn't just about changing what you do. It's about changing who you are in the process. And I think that that is one of the things that a lot of people miss in the journey, and they forget to take care of themselves as they evolve. You see, in corporate, your value came from delivering on someone else's vision. But as the founder of your own business, you set the vision, you direct the plays, and you own the results. As I was thinking about the conversation today, the one phrase that just kept coming up in my mind over and over is the buck stops with you. That buck is in your hand. It stops with you. You set the vision, you direct the plays, you own the results. And that feels very similar to what has been delegated to you as responsibility in corporate, but it's bigger than that, because the entire experience, the entire vision, it all rests upon you. And so this shift requires an identity upgrade that unlocks your freedom to lean into that. It unlocks your freedom to have authority in that space and to take true ownership. It is so common. I'll use that word. It is so common to see so many people who treat their business as if they are an employee of it instead of the owner or CEO of their business. And so elevating your understanding, elevating your identity when you make this shift is incredibly important. Otherwise, you are going to be looking outside of yourself from the direction that should be coming from within. And this is one of the reasons why connecting it to your purpose is important, because the inspiration that is divinely given to you because of your purpose is going to continue to lead the way as you make this journey from corporate to entrepreneur. Now, I believe that there are key steps that needs to happen. There are key shifts that need to occur within you so that you can shift your thinking from being a contributor to an owner, so that you can shift your thinking from being an employee to a founder, so that you can shift your thinking from corporate to entrepreneur. And the one key shift that I'd like to begin unpacking with you is the notion of permission versus decision. You see, a contributor mindset is always waiting for approval before taking action. Now, there are some people who dare to ask for forgiveness, but most of us, especially those of us who have been groomed to ensure that we are aligning with the overarching goals that need to be accomplished within the corporate realm, we are waiting for that approval to come. We are often delayed waiting for the approval to come. We are often preparing to pitch for the approval and then still waiting for the approval to come. And that is a contributor's mindset. It's the conditioning that happens because of all the right reasons. When you have organizational structure, it is important to have the right alignment with leadership. And so you want that approval to happen, but it conditions us to wait for it. It conditions us to wait for a green light. It conditions us to wait for someone to say it can happen. It conditions us to seek the approval before we take action. But when you are taking that journey from corporate to entrepreneur, there's no one to give you permission but yourself. You have to give yourself the approval. You have to give yourself the permission to lean into taking your journey, leading your vision, and driving your results. You see, as a creator, as a founder, as an entrepreneur, you have to embrace the mindset to decide. You have to embrace the mindset to move. You have to embrace the mindset to course correct. You have to embrace the mindset to pivot without waiting for someone else's approval, without waiting for someone else to say yes. And it often is difficult for you to act because you've always been conditioned for a trigger to say it's okay. And when you're making that shift from corporate to entrepreneur, you have to be the one to say go. You have to be the one that says pivot. You have to be the one that decides what happens. You've got to position yourself to ensure that you have the permission to do your vision, that you have the permission to move forward. So instead of waiting for a corporate green light to start a new project, you have to launch your offer. You have to test your offer. You have to test it with your audience, and you have to refine as you go. And what I find is our conditioning has made us a little reluctant to try, a little reluctant to get out of the box. And this is where coaching wins, especially when you have a coach whose voice resonates with you, because they will be able to empower you to accelerate. They will be able to empower you to go, to move forward. They will help you get out of your own way. And so one of the key mindset shifts that has to happen when you go from contributor to creator, when you go from employee to founder, when you go from corporate to entrepreneur, is that you have to be willing to give yourself the decision-making power. You must embrace it. The second shift that needs to occur when you make that journey from contributor to creator, when you make that journey from employee to founder, when you make that journey from corporate to entrepreneur, is execution versus ownership. And again, I am never going to bash corporate America because the construct of corporate America teaches you how to be successful. It puts the guardrails on and it challenges you to blaze a trail and be successful. But when it comes to ownership, there's some conditioning from corporate that you have to begin to allow yourself to expand beyond, evolve beyond. And one of them is execution versus ownership. Now, the employee mindset says, I want to excel at executing tasks within a set scope, right? That's the employee mindset. I want to excel at executing tasks within a set scope. Now, many of us, especially those of us who have been successful in the corporate career ranks, understand that goals are set, that metrics are put into place, and all of that conditions you to excel at executing tasks within a set scope. But when you're making that shift into entrepreneur standpoint, into entrepreneurialism, you have to define the scope. You're not told a scope. You have to set the standard. You're not told a standard, and you're responsible for the outcome. And that feels heavy because in corporate, they just kind of told me what I needed to do. And if I did it well, I got a check mark. I got a plus. I may have gotten a raise. And so the biggest difference that we have to free our mind to embrace is execution versus ownership. You are the owner. So you own the scope. You own the standard. You own the outcome. So instead of being assigned a marketing campaign, you design a marketing strategy, you design a budget, you design a timeline for your own launch. And you may say to yourself, marketing is not my lane. I am not a guru at that. And that is why you bring in help that will accelerate you, that will have guidance for you so that you can understand how to operate in this new space. So one of the most frustrating things, especially when you have this new power, this new responsibility, and this new ownership, is you are stuck trying to figure out on your own what to do. You have not brought in the team, guidance, coach, support, mentorship to help accelerate your path. And so instead of being assigned in the way that you are in corporate, you're left holding the bag and trying to figure out what to do on your own when help is available. So one of the mindset shifts is absolutely you have to go from execution to ownership, but that doesn't mean that you have to do everything alone. Okay. The third mindset shift that is important when you're going from contributor to creator, when you're going from employee to founder, when you're going from corporate to entrepreneur, is delivering on vision versus setting the vision. You see, the corporate mindset or the contributor mindset helps to shape someone else's big picture. And the more you get up into the leadership ranks, the more bigger the piece of the puzzle you're given to help to shape. When you're at an entry level role, you have no puzzle to shape. But as you go from entry level to supervisor, to manager, to director, to vice president, and on up, bigger pieces of the puzzle is given to you. But as the CEO of your business, as the CEO of your brand, you craft the vision that aligns with your purpose. And you set the direction for your vision. So you get no piece. You have the whole pie. And again, this may feel a little heavy, but when you need support, you bring in support to help accelerate your success. So an example of this is instead of growing revenue for a department's target, you decide your business will reach $250,000 this year. You get to decide that. Instead of being given the goal and saying, how are you going to go make it happen? You establish the goal and the plan as well. So this is why This is why high achieving corporate women are exceptional contributors. They're exceptional. We are so great at what we do because, baby, if you tell us what we need to accomplish, we can make it happen. I share all the time that the biggest compliment I got when I was in corporate is you make things happen. And it's because if you tell me what you need done, I am going to help drive that out. I am going to deliver on it. I know how to exceed the expectations that have been set for us. I know how to execute the task within the scope. So, as high achieving corporate women, we're exceptional contributors. That's one of the reasons why our pivot often stalls. It's one of the reasons why we stall out because we are so used to delivering excellence within a framework set by somebody else. And without us understanding that it is on us to establish the framework for our business, we feel lost and uncertain on what to do. So without these shifting of these identities, we end up running a business as if we still have a boss. We end up overthinking. We end up hesitating. We end up under earning because we're not fully owning our role as a CEO. And so this is so incredibly important, and we miss it because we jump into task. We jump into executing because that's what we know how to do. But we miss the mark because we end up running our business as if we still have a boss when we are the boss. We're overthinking, we're hesitating, we're under earning because we haven't fully shifted into our CEO role. And so one of the things that is going to happen at Corporate to Entrepreneur Live, in that room, we're going to cement this. We are going to guide you through designing your founder's vision so that it's not just what you sell, but it's what you're building. Last night, I had the opportunity to be with one of my clients face to face, and she has a candy business that she's launching. And she's got her final packaging. We were there working on some final labeling to make sure everything was good to go. And when I saw the packaging, I was like, this looks good. It turned out so amazing. She kept looking at me and she said to me 2 or 3 times, what if I can't keep up with demand? What if a bunch of orders come in? What if I can't keep up with demand? That's designing a founder's vision. You've got to understand what the expansion strategy is going to be. What is the expansion strategy going to be if it takes off as great as you believe it can? So at the Corporate to Entrepreneur Live event, we're going to not only allow you to establish a vision, but we're going to understand more about what you're building and how it can operate and function. I laughed at her. Every time she asked, I said, that's the Oprah Winfrey effect. That's the Oprah Winfrey effect. They fall in love with it and everybody wants it, and you have to scramble how to produce it. But that is an amazing space to be in if you know how to pivot and navigate, if you know how to solve problems, and if you learn to react quickly. As a part of the Corporate Entrepreneur Live, we're going to workshop your first CEO level decisions if you haven't had any yet, so that you leave knowing exactly the direction you are headed in and you can execute. You'll be surrounded with women who are already operating as creators, so you can normalize bold moves and decisive leadership. It is so incredible to find yourself in these spaces that allow you to own your vision. Now, one of the things I did want to talk about today, and I waffled between whether I wanted to talk about it yesterday or today, so it landed in today's lineup, is this whole notion of picking any old business. You see, some of the smartest women I know have launched businesses that look really great on paper, but they still end up feeling like a cage to them. They still end up feeling like an employee, like they're not the boss of it. And it's not because the idea was bad, but it's because the purpose piece was missing. It was missing. And so when I talk about launching the right business, purpose is a big part of that. When I talk about building your founder's vision, purpose is a big part of that. When I talk about establishing the vision for your business and how it's going to operate and expand, purpose is a big part of that. This is why it is so incredibly hard, dare I say, unadvised, to pick a business off of a shelf, to be talked into a business that does not resonate with who you are. And I'm going to give some examples, and I don't mean this to kind of talk against any of the models that are out there. If these models work for you, great. But for the person that I serve, they want the right business. They want the business that continues their career success. And so when we start talking about network marketing, the system is there, the products are often proven, but the unique calling gets boxed into someone else's template. It's just another flavor of what you're already experiencing in your corporate responsibility. It sounds great when you think about proven products. It sounds great when you talk about this ready-made business model and a community to plug into, but it misses the mark at being the right business. And here's why network marketing misses the mark at being the right business. The why often comes second to the how. That's probably the number one reason why it misses the mark at being the right business. The why, the thing that you should be most connected to, comes second to the how. And the how is recruit, sell, repeat. Recruit, sell, repeat. Recruit, sell, repeat. Now, unless your purpose, unless your calling is about the how, recruit, sell, repeat, you are simply picking up activity and taking it on as business, but you're missing the why, you're missing the purpose. Your unique gifts, your vision and creativity can get squeezed into someone else's template. We know that that can happen. That's the thing you're brimming out of when we talk about what's happening to you in corporate and how you're shrinking to fit into the success that used to fit you. The focus is usually with network marketing on scaling volume and team size and not aligning the business with your deeper calling. So remember, the woman that I am speaking to is looking to continue her career success. She is not looking to make her why second to these activities that she's going to be thrusted into doing. Purpose is very important. And if your true driver is impact and ownership of your idea, network marketing rarely gives you the creative control to fully live that out. And so when we start talking about the right business that connects with who you are, that extends your success, that ensures that purpose is connected to it for you, rarely does network marketing do it. Now, that's not an absolute statement. For some people, it is their jam. But if it's about your purpose, be sure that it truly is your jam if that is the move you want to make. The second thing that causes us to sometimes step into a business that will start to feel like a cage rather than an extension of our career, an extension of our success, is chasing business trends. A business trend like AI tools. I got to have a business around AI tools. A business trend like subscription boxes. I got to have a business around subscription boxes. A business trend like TikTok shops. I got to have a TikTok shop. You can ride a wave for a while, but without purpose, it's easy to wake up and realize you've built something you don't even want to sustain. And that's typically what happens when we are chasing business trends. There's a lot of good ideas, and dare I say, a lot of good money that can be made. But remember, when it's connected to your purpose, it's going to go the distance. So jumping into a hot trend can be exciting and even profitable at first, but it misses the mark because your why is often reactive. You're building because it's hot right now, not because it's what you're called to sustain long term. I want you to always remember that trends fade, leaving you with a business model that may not match your real strengths or lifestyle vision. And so you jumped into this trend. You now got this TikTok shop. You now got this subscription box business and these AI tools because it was a hot topic, but the trend is faded and you're not connected to it. And that is exactly what we were contending with to begin with. The disconnection you feel with your role. It forces you into this constant cycle of reinvention just to keep up. And the gap is without anchoring your why, the business may make money, but it won't make meaning. And remember where we started. We wanted something that connected with us, with who we are, with what we wanted to achieve. And when it's connecting to money without meaning, that's just another version of what you already have in corporate. And you'll feel the same restlessness that came up before. And finally, the last one that I've seen people often do is they'll simply say, I'll do what I did in corporate as a business. And logically, that may feel safe and that may feel like it makes sense. But at the same time, if it's the same work that you left unfulfilled and you're just recreating your own job, only now you're the boss of your own burnout. Think about that. Now, there's versions of reinventing it. There's versions of positioning it for sure. On paper, it may look logical. You're skilled at that. You know the market and you know it's low risk, but it misses the mark for you. Because remember, you're swapping one job for another without changing the core of what you do or why you do it. The pace, the structure, the client demands can mirror the very pressures you wanted to leave behind. And you left corporate to have more freedom. And this can recreate the same constraints under a different name. And so the reason why I wanted to unpack these, I wanted to unpack them because you can monetize a skill. And it doesn't mean you should build a business around it. If it's not tied to your deeper purpose, you'll end up with the same frustrations. It'll just have your name on the invoice. These are all good ideas. They really are. Network marketing is a good idea. Chasing business trends is a good idea. Doing what you did in corporate as your own business is a good idea. They can work, but without anchoring in your purpose first, you will find yourself back where you started in asking, how do I launch the right business? This is why my purpose plus positioning equals profit framework always starts with purpose. Purpose is the filter that helps you choose work that not only makes money, but makes meaning. So here's some questions you should ask yourself, especially if you are considering that pivot from contributor to creator, that pivot from employee to founder, that pivot from corporate to entrepreneur. I am always going to point you back to purpose because I want you to have success that is going to go the distance. But before you commit to a business idea, here's some clarifying questions you can ask. Does this use my unique gifts in a way that feels fulfilling? That second half of that phrase is so important. In a way that feels fulfilling. Does this use my unique gifts in a way that feels fulfilling? The second question is, does it fit the life I want to live, not just the income I want to earn? And then the last question is, does it align with the impact I want to have? Those are three excellent clarifying questions as you are noodling on this thought of going from corporate to entrepreneur. And when you answer these questions, you're not just building a business, you're building your business, the one that is right for you, the one whose vision you can hold as founder, the one whose vision you can hold as creator, the one whose vision you can hold as entrepreneur. And that's the difference between something that drains you and something that sustains you. And that's exactly what we'll walk through at Corporate to Entrepreneur Live. Now, let me tell you about this event. It is going to be a small setting event. I want you to come into a space where you feel seen, heard, understood, supported, accelerated. I want you to come into a space where your business is made 10 times better after you've been there. I want you to come to a space where you feel in community with the other people who are in the room. And across this 2-day window, I want to be your coach, helping you to navigate the extension of your success as an entrepreneur. I would love to see you at Corporate to Entrepreneur Live. If you go to www.theceoshift.live, pre-sale is still there. You can still get pre-sale prices. The one mindset shift I want to leave you with today that I want to activate for you is I am not just a part of the vision, I am creating it. You get to create your vision. Make sure it taps into your purpose, because there's so much connected to you if you would allow it to be an extension of who you are now, who you have evolved to become. So again, I want to invite you to join me in Charlotte, North Carolina, October 25th and 26th. I want to also ask, if you know someone who needs to hear this, please send it to them. Please share it with them. If they've been talking with you about their desire to go from corporate to entrepreneur, this entire series covers so many of the mindset shifts that have been needed. And I promise to ramp up and get into the business aspects, but it's not the business to-do list that trips us up and keeps us stalled out. It's these mindsets that we refuse to prioritize addressing. Ask me how I know. I have taken this journey and I am paying back and forward everything that I wish I would have known up front from day one. This experience is for the woman who is ready to accelerate her success and create the business that she knows she has been called to do. So if your resume says executive, but your calling says entrepreneur, I would love to be your coach for this entire weekend experience, this 2-day weekend in Charlotte. I would love to be connected to you there. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. The link is in the caption. The website is theceoshift.live. Check it out and we'll talk soon.